provide a roadmap to citizenship for 11 million undocumented immigrants, take immediate action to protect dreamers, restoring refugee admission, raising the target to a minimum of 125,000 people a year in my first year.
Wow, admissions, huh? Joe Biden has pledged to undo all of President Trump's immigration policies. And this weekend, he had a call with Mexico's president on opening the borders. Yeah, all of this is happening right now as new migrant caravans are forming in Honduras in anticipation of Joe Biden's inauguration and the implementation of his new policies, more lenient policies. Joining us right now, a man who just wrote about this, John Daniel Davidson, political editor at The Federalist. John, what do you think Joe Biden's immigration policies will look like? Because believe it or not, he's trying to break something that seems to have been fixed.
That's right. Joe Biden's been pretty clear that he wants to loosen President Trump's more strict immigration policies and border control policies. And that's everything from COVID-19 precautions to asylum processes to programs like Remain in Mexico that have really helped deter border crossings over the last year or so. Just talking about relaxing these restrictions, whether or not Biden actually does it, will trigger caravans. It will trigger increased numbers of people trying to get across the border, and we're already seeing that in Central America.
You report that there's less fear about the coronavirus, and with the hurricanes slamming those beleaguered nations, those triangle nations, they're making their march again. And we're already seeing changes at the border?
Well, that's right. And what we're also seeing is that smuggling networks that profit off of illegal immigration, hundreds of millions of dollars a year at least, by charging Central Americans for passage north over the Rio Grande and into the United States. They are using Biden's election as a marketing tool, promising people that they will be able to get into the United States more easily now that Biden is going to be president, and that now is the time to come north. And that's why we're seeing these caravans form, and that's why we're about to see a sharp increase in illegal immigration on the southern border.
So catch and release policy. We don't know if they're parent, they can claim whatever they want. They have to be released into the country. We had kind of solved that problem thanks to Mexico. This socialist president working tight with our president, put his Marines at their southern border, and has to remain in the Mexico at our southern border. It worked.
And part of the reason it worked is because Trump tied trade policy to border policy. Mexico's president and the Mexican elites care about trade more than anything. They don't want to do anything that upsets trade with the United States, and they showed that they were willing to cooperate with the United States on border control in exchange for having trade run smoothly. And the Trump administration was very clever in connecting those two things. But keeping that cooperation and keeping that partnership going is going to have to be something that both countries want to do, and the Biden administration doesn't want to do that.
Yeah, my hope is with everything on Biden's plate, if he does take over and there's no last-minute change by the Supreme Court, that he would say, I don't need to create this problem. The president solved it for now. Maybe he'll address that down the line. I do have that small bit of hope. John, thanks so much.
Thank you.
Continue. What concerns do President Trump's immigration officials have about Biden's open border policies, and what are the price we're paying right now? The guy at the border, Mark Morgan, Acting Commissioner of U.S. Customs and Border Protection, joins us right now. Mark, what's changed since the election?
So your previous guest is spot on, Brian. What I would add is that the Biden administration doesn't want to just loosen incredibly successful immigration policies and strategies by the Trump administration. He wants to obliterate it. And his immigration strategies aren't immigration strategies. It's an open border strategy. And your previous guest outlined, he's spot on. Look, it's not that it will create additional flow. It's already started. Look, the latest caravans, we have intelligence shows that they're creating Facebook pages. We're using WhatsApp to talk about openly about that under the Biden administration. Our borders will be open. Hurry up and get there. Illegally, no problem. You're going to be allowed in, never to be heard from again. The numbers are skyrocketing. We're between 23 and 2,500 per day. You know, those are absolutely crisis numbers. And real quick, Brian, the reason why it's not a crisis now is it's as you explained, because of the policy we have in place, we're able to address it. You remove those, as President as Biden wants to do, you're going to have a chaos and a crisis immediately.
I mean, you guys also create great relations with the Triangle Nations as well as Mexico, and things are settling down. You've built 450 miles of wall. You have enough money for 700 plus miles of wall. 1,400 finishes it off. This year, you got 1.3 million to continue. Any indication, Mark, that the new administration coming in will see the wisdom of finishing the job?
Brian, I hope so. And look, there was an interview today with Mr. Biden where a reporter asked about what he promised American people on the immigration side of the house. And look, he's already walking back what he promised he's going to do on day one. Now,
hey, Mark,
that's
actually,
a
I have that
step.
soundbite. Mark, hold on. I'll play that for you right now. Let's listen.
Okay, please.
We've already started discussing these issues with the President of Mexico and our friends in Latin America. I will accomplish what I said I would do, a much more humane policy based on family unification, but it requires getting a lot in place and requires getting the funding to get it in place, including just asylum judges. It's going to take not day one, it's going to take probably the next 6 months to put that in place.
Hey, you used to work for President Obama. Read between the lines there. What's he saying?
Oh, he's saying, look, he's not going to do what he promised he was going to do on day one. He's been very clear all along during the campaign and what all he was going to do to undo day one. But he knows he can't do that because he will create an immigration crisis that will pale in comparison within his first few weeks. But good thing is that means his transition team is listening to the experts at CBP that are warning him he cannot do what he promised to do on day one, or it's going to lead to a crisis. But we can't celebrate here because all he did, he's not changing his policies. So all he did was kick the crisis can down the road a few months. But mark my words, as long as his open border strategies remain in place to end MPP and stop deportations, we're going to have a crisis. He's just delayed it a little bit, Brian.
They follow our news like as soon as we break it, they are all over it and they react to it. That's one thing I've learned in following you. And I saw the crisis. You guys couldn't put tents up fast enough to house all the incoming illegal immigrants coming to our country. You finally got it under control. It must be just breaking you up to see it might be all going backwards. But Mark, thanks so much. Appreciate the work you've done. Appreciate the conversations we've had.
Breaking news on the border between Mexico and Guatemala right now as that migrant caravan moves through Central America. We have live pictures and some video where part of that caravan has broken through a fence and into Mexico. Today, Mexican leaders added extra security on their southern border, but as you can see from this video, part of that fence has been breached, and now you see people jumping over the top of it. Just extraordinary footage coming out of Guatemala and Mexico. Mexico right now is asking the United Nations Refugee Agency for help to try and process all of these people. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo is in Mexico today. He applauded the move of adding security. Remember, President Trump tweeted just yesterday that he will cut off aid to all those Central American countries where these refugees are coming from if they let them go through and pass into America. He even threatened to shut down the U.S.-Mexico border to try and keep these people out. And you can see that caravan now moving through the fence despite all the extra security. It doesn't look like anything has turned violent or anything like that, but a mass of people moving through, and it appears now they are in Mexico and heading north. Just fascinating developments in Central America.
A caravan of Central Americans seeking asylum reached the San Diego border with Mexico on Sunday and are being told to prepare for the worst. California lawyers warn the migrants who are fleeing violence in their home countries that parents may be separated from their children. Shaken but undeterred, one migrant told the Washington Post, "If they're going to separate us for a few days, that's better than getting myself killed in my country." Migrants were also told they could face detention and be placed in freezing holding cells. President Donald Trump and his aides consider the caravan a threat to the U.S.
What's happening? Okay. That's how people are so crazy. That's because of Biden. Do you think where are the people came from? Of course, they are all paid by Biden just to enter the border. They were all so crazy. Here's what's happening now in the US. So watch now, guys. They were all from Honduras. They were a massive migrant caravan pushes through borders patrol. And they were heading to the US border. My gosh. So look what's happening. There's a fire. I heard some fire. Oh my. To those people who don't have Telegram or other apps or other than YouTube and Facebook, you cannot see this actual. That's why I want to share it to you guys.